Hi, friends. Welcome today. Here we have the Puppets of Spelhorst. This is a new one to my class that we're reading it for the first time and we're really enjoying it. So I think you're going to enjoy it as well. It is by Kate Dicamillo and the illustrator is Julie Morstead. I do have to apologize. I have a little bit of a speech impediment and one of the words is hard for me. And I have fabulous students that help me. This one here, wolf. So, wolf. I will do my best to help pronounce it correctly, but if you've ever been in speech, you know I did the best I could to correct that impediment, and I will try. Here we go. The Puppets of Spelhorst. Once there was a king and a wolf and a girl with a shepherd's crook and a boy with arrows and bow. And also there was an owl, and the king had a beard made of human hair. The wolf's teeth were bared in a snarl, and the girl wore a green cloak. The arrows in the boy's quiver were sharp enough to prick a finger. As for the owl, his feathers were real. There's a picture to get us going. The king and the wolf and the girl and the boy and the owl lay jumbled together at the bottom of a trunk that had the word Spelhorst stenciled in gold letters on its lid and sides. The king and the wolf and the girl and the boy and the owl were puppets, and they were waiting for a story to begin. And that's how our story starts. Act 1. Chapter 1. There was once an old sea captain who lived in a small room above a tailor shop. The captain's name was Spelhorst, and he had no wife, no children, and no family. He was alone in the world and took his meals at a cafe down the street from the tailor shop. There, the old man would sit at a table and stare past everything and everyone as if he were on the prow of a ship looking out to sea. One of the captain's eyes was clouded over with cataracts, but the other eye was as bright as an astonishing blue. On good days, days when his knees did not ache and the weather was fine, Spellhorst walked around the city for hours at a time. On hard days, he stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling, studying its cracks and water stains and spider webs. He listened to the door of the tailor shop as it opened and closed. He could hear the murmur of voices, the sound of people requesting things and demanding things. Sometimes he could hear the tailor shouting at his wife in Italian. Sometimes he could hear the tailor's wife weeping. The pigeons on the window sill of Spellhorst's room looked in at the old man with bright, disdainful eyes. The birds arrived and departed and returned, and their wings sounded like someone shuffling a deck of cards. The sea captain paid the pigeons no mind. He did not even look in their direction. He kept his eyes on the ceiling. He tried to think of nothing at all. And then came a day, a good day, when Spellhorst's knees did not ache and the weather was clear and the old man walked and walked. He ended up very far from the tailor shop in a part of the city that he did not know, in an alley that was dark and winding. He came upon a toy shop, and in the window of the shop he saw displayed a king and a wolf and a girl and a boy and an owl. The puppets were hanging from the fishing line. They were turning slowly in the gust of air made by the opening and closing of the shop door. Spellhorst stopped. He took his cap from his head and he stared at the puppets. There he was, a man without a family, a man without children or grandchildren, a man utterly devoid of whimsy or wonder, staring at a toy store window, bewitched entirely by the puppets. And there they are on the cover. Here he is, staring in. But Spellhorst was not staring at all of the puppets. He was staring at one puppet only, the girl with the cloak and the shepherd's crook. The girl had a heart-shaped face and violet eyes of someone Spellhorst had loved long ago. Loved and lost, loved and lost, loved and lost, the ever-repeating story of the world. I must have her, Spellhorst said aloud to no one. He put his hat on his head and he went into the store and he announced to the clerk that he wished to purchase one of the puppets on display in the window. You cannot buy just one, said the clerk. They belong together. I want the girl puppet, said Spellhorst. The puppets must be purchased together or not at all, said the clerk, for they are a story. Spellhorst stared at the clerk. Story? What did a story matter to him? The door to the shop opened and closed, and the puppets danced in the small wind, and the girl puppet twisted about suddenly so that she was facing the captain and looking at him. Spellhurst closed his eyes and then opened them again. He said, "Very well, all of them." Spellhurst, he took the puppets home and back to the room above the tailor shop. He threw the king, the wolf, and the owl, and the boy into the trunk at the foot of his bed. But the girl puppet, Spellhurst propped her up on the table so that he might look into her violet eyes. He sat on the bed and he stared at her. He said, "I am sorry. I am sorry. Annalise, I am so sorry." He put his head in his hands and then he got up from the bed and sat down at the table. And he took up a pen and paper and he wrote for a long time. When he was done, he folded the paper and he put it in the trunk. And then the old man sat at the table and wept. Outside the room, perched on the windowsill, the pigeons looked in at the sea captain and made noises of despair and disapproval. It grew dark. Spellhorst did not light the lamp. He got into bed and he cried himself to sleep as if he were a small child. And that is the end of chapter 1 of The Puppets of Spelhurst by Kate Dicamillo and illustrated by Julie Morstead. So far, interesting. These puppets, what is going to come of them? We will find out. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening today on My Reading Teacher.